Have you ever looked at a map of Europe and wondered why it looks the way it does? All those jagged coastlines, winding rivers, and seemingly random borders. It's easy to think that in our modern world of fast travel and instant communication, geography doesn't matter much anymore. But what if I told you that the mountains, rivers, and plains of Europe are not just features on a map? What if they are the very keys to understanding Europe's history, its conflicts, and its surprising journey towards unity? For centuries, many Europeans have held a powerful belief: geography is destiny. And today, we're going to explore why this idea still holds so much weight. Let's start with the basics. Europe is a peninsula of peninsulas, crowded and diverse. Unlike the vast open spaces of North America or Asia, Europe is geographically fragmented. The Alps, the Pyrenees, the Carpathians, these massive mountain ranges act as natural walls. For thousands of years, they didn't just separate climates. They separated peoples, creating distinct cultures, languages, and identities. Think about it. Getting an army or even a trade caravan across the Alps was a monumental task. This isolation allowed for unique societies to flourish in Italy, Spain, and France, each protected and defined by the mountains at their backs. These weren't just bumps on the landscape. They were the cradles of nations. Then there are the rivers. The Rhine, the Danube, the Seine. These aren't just waterways, they are the historic arteries of Europe. They have been highways for trade, channels for cultural exchange, and, unfortunately, front lines for countless wars. The Rhine, for example, has been a fiercely contested border between France and Germany for centuries. Control the Rhine and you control access deep into the heart of Europe. The Danube flows through 10 different countries, linking Central and Eastern Europe. It's been a lifeline for commerce, but also a path for invading armies. These rivers connected people, yes, but they also created natural, and often fought over, lines of division. They were both a blessing and a curse, and this brings us to one of Europe's most persistent geographical challenges: the lack of a single, unifying core. Look at the North European plain. This vast, flat expanse stretches from France all the way to Russia. It's incredibly fertile and great for agriculture, which is why it's so densely populated. But it has a major problem. It has no natural defenses. No mountains, no major oceans to protect it. This geographical vulnerability has made it a historical battleground. For centuries, powers like France, Germany, and Russia have expanded and clashed across this open plain, each seeking a defensible border that simply doesn't exist in nature. This constant search for security in an insecure landscape is a central theme of European history, driving an endless cycle of conflict. This idea that geography determines a nation's fate is often called geopolitics. It suggests that a country's foreign policy is not just a matter of choice, but a response to its physical environment. Russia, vast and largely landlocked, has always sought warm water ports. The United Kingdom, an island nation, naturally built a powerful navy to protect its sea lanes and project power globally. Germany, stuck in the middle of the North European plain, has historically felt squeezed from both east and west, leading to an aggressive and often tragic pursuit of security and living space. These national strategies weren't born in a vacuum. They were whispered into the ears of leaders by the mountains, seas, and plains that surrounded them. But here is where the story takes a fascinating turn. After centuries of brutal wars, culminating in the devastation of World War II, European leaders looked at their map and their history and decided to try something radical. They recognized that their geography, the very thing that had so often driven them apart, could also be used to bind them together. What if the resources that they fought over could be shared instead? This was the revolutionary idea behind the European Coal and Steel Community, founded in 1951. France, Germany, Italy, and the Benelux countries decided to pull their coal and steel production, the essential ingredients of war. By placing these critical resources under a common authority, they made war between them not just unthinkable, but materially impossible. You can't build tanks if you don't control the steel. This wasn't just a political treaty, it was a brilliant act of geopolitical engineering. They took the contested industrial heartland around the Rhine River, a source of endless conflict, and turned it into a foundation for peace and shared prosperity. They didn't move the mountains or reroute the rivers, but they changed their meaning. They decided that their shared geography would no longer be a curse of division, but a platform for cooperation. This initial step was the seed that grew into the European Union we know today. The logic was simple: if we can share coal and steel, why not create a common market for all goods? Why not allow people to travel and work freely across these once heavily guarded borders? The Schengen area, which allows for passport-free travel, is perhaps the ultimate symbol of this transformation. It effectively erases the very borders that geography and history had drawn so starkly. The EU is, in essence, a grand attempt to overcome the divisions hardwired into the European continent. It's an effort to prove that while geography might propose a path, it doesn't have to be destiny. However, the story doesn't end there. Geography is persistent. Even within the EU, old geographical fault lines remain. We see it in the economic differences between the industrial North and the less developed South. We see it in the cultural and political divides between Western and Eastern Europe, shaped by the historical influence of the Iron Curtain, which itself followed old geographic and cultural boundaries. And recent events have reminded us just how much borders still matter. Russia's actions in Ukraine are a stark and brutal reminder that on the open plains of Eastern Europe, the age-old struggle for territory and security is far from over. The flow of natural gas, the control of ports, the strategic importance of flat, open terrain, it's all Geopolitics 101 playing out in the 21st century. So, does geography still shape Europe's destiny? Absolutely. The mountains still stand, the rivers still flow, and the plains are still open. These physical realities continue to influence everything from trade and economics to military strategy and national identity. But the European story offers a profound lesson. It shows that humans are not merely passive subjects of their environment. Through cooperation, ingenuity, and a bold vision for a shared future, it is possible to rewrite the script. Europe's journey shows that while geography might set the stage, it's the choices people make that ultimately write the play. The continent's destiny is no longer written solely by its maps, but by the ongoing effort to build bridges, both literal and metaphorical, across its ancient divides. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this exploration of Europe's geography and history interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the forces that shape our world. Let me know in the comments what other geographical stories you'd like to see covered. See you next time.